everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon, and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I've heard it said that anywhere from 1 to 5% of a population are narcissists. I don't know if that's accurate, and I don't know if that literally means narcissistic personality disorder, or, which I kind of doubt. I'm sure that many people haven't been diagnosed with it, or if it just means high traits of narcissism, jerks, whatever it is, 1 to 5%. So let's assume, just for the sake of argument and for where I'm going with this, that that's accurate. So if that's true, that would mean that overwhelmingly, most people do not need to worry about narcissism. It's not a huge significant problem. Now, granted, if it's 5%, that's concerning. But this isn't something that most people are going to have to deal with. I mean, imagine if you had some terrible illness, even something significant. If I went to the doctor, even, with something very serious, and he said to me, all right, listen, I'm going to give you this pill, this tablet, this treatment, and 95 to 99% of my patients are completely fine afterwards, I would feel very confident. We are extremely susceptible to what we hear, right? We've been brainwashed, depending on who has told us and when we've heard it. I mean, we are taught that there are betters. I mean, think about the school system. It's like this mill. It's an indoctrination factory, right? We're taught to listen, to repeat. People in charge are better than us. We should always, just let the person in charge, they're the final answer. You are not allowed to fight anything. You're not allowed to disagree. And if you do, well, who are you? Are you a doctor? Are you this? Are you a lawyer? Or, this is the type of thing we hear. No independent thought at all. Just believe you're betters. And the people that are better than us, that are in charge of us, are the ones that we really need them to be making the right decisions. I mean, think about like your kids, right? Or your animals. They're completely helpless and dependent on you. That's how we are with the government. That's how we are with other people in charge. Are we really sure that they have our best interests at heart? I can remember when I was at the worst, one of the worst times of my ex. We went through a lot of worst times. But there was this one point where my ex was not living, he was living in his car, or he wasn't living with me, and I wasn't able to communicate with him regularly. My car broke down. This is my husband. He should have been helping me with this, right? So my car broke down. I had no car. I had no money. I didn't know what I was going to do. And at one point, I talked to I can't remember why I was telling my father this, but I said something about the car to my father. And he was like, that's your husband. He's going to have to take care of this. And it was like this moment where I wanted to just laugh in his face. What are you talking about? My husband. That means nothing to him. It might mean something to you. My husband. Like he's going to have to do anything about that? If my husband doesn't want to do anything, he's not going to do anything. If our government, if our doctor, our teachers, or whoever it is, if they don't want to do anything, what are we going to do? Or if they want to do the wrong thing, and they can always say, well, who are you to fight us? I'm the teacher, I'm the doctor, I know better. Let's consider this, because something that I have come across. Now, some of you are way ahead of the game here with me, but this is something that has been extremely shocking to me, and where I want to talk about in today's video. What the hell is going on in our world right now? The way that I looked at the world then, like last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, especially 10, 20 years ago, and the way I look at the world today, I can't even believe it's the same world. It's the most shocking thing. I can't even, let's talk. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that it's possible that our world, and this would have sounded crazy to me, but I am more towards this than any other way. I'm not full on board here yet, but what do you think about the possibility that there is actually, instead of our government being in charge, that there's actually a bunch of global elites that So we have, remember, a 1 to 5% of people are narcissists. Is it really way more than that? And they're just saying it, that our world is run by global elites who literally are demonic, and that there are literal demons running around this world that are drinking children's blood. I know this sounds crazy. Kidnapping, drinking children's blood, causing these wars, these mayhem. Everything is planned. I heard someone say recently that if voting mattered, we wouldn't be allowed to do it. And there was just something about that just hit me. When I have found out what is really in our food, what is really in these vaccinations that they keep pushing on us, when I'm outside my house and I literally see chemtrails in the sky, it's really hard to believe that this is not intentional and that something extremely serious is happening and we really need to be alarmed. It used to be, I used to think about just how horrible it was not being safe in your house. That's such an underrated thing, being able to be safe in your home, feeling, you can relax in your own home. And when you're with a narcissist, you never ever have that feeling. You're always trying to feel safe. What happens if we're never allowed to feel safe? We can never be safe because the government wants us to be unsafe. If there's this global elite that is demonic, that's drinking blood, this sounds crazy. But what if this is really what's happening? That it wasn't just that we had the unfortunate luck to be with a narcissist, that, because I used to think that here I am trapped with this narcissist and it's the most horrible thing, right? Like I was saying, to be trapped in your house with something bad. But what happens if that's just the tip of the iceberg? What if they're literally everywhere? Your doctor could be this way. Maybe your doctor's, I don't know, this sounds crazy, not even human. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I can tell you, if you look at what's in our food supply and you look what's in our vaccines and you look at what's really happening with our healthcare system, I don't know how you can come to any other conclusion. I was looking into vaccines, right? I'll tell you something. I'm a doctor, okay? I'm a veterinarian. I was never taught what was in vaccines. It was always just, this is when we give vaccines, it's for this, blah, blah, blah. And I've heard physicians say the exact same thing. We're not taught this. We just have a trust in our better, right? The one above us, the one that can shut us down with, well, are you a doctor? Are you this? Do you have a PhD? Are you the president? We're just shut down by that. What are you supposed to say? And we're so readily accepting of it. People think we need permits for everything. Oh, do you have a permit for that? Does the government allow you to have a permit? Are you allowed to have that? We're so used to getting, having somebody control us and telling us what's right or wrong. And then I can remember in high school, I was telling Joe this, I don't even know what this was for. One day, a bunch of people were called down to the nurse's office, and I was one of them. And we had to just stand in line, and we were getting shots of something. And I'm like, did my parents know about this? They didn't mention it to me. I don't remember if I even said anything. Today, my daughter, well, she wouldn't have done it, but if something like that happened, she would tell me right away. I don't even know if I mentioned it to my parents. It was just the way it was back then. It was just, oh, all right, I just have this shot. But then we find out what's actually in these shots, right? There's snake venom, like AIDS, and different animal parts, baby parts from aborted babies. Why is this in our vaccines? What is this for? How can there be any argument that this is not just crazy mad science? When I was a little girl, I used to like to make mud pies, right? And if it was a really rainy day, I could put worms in that thing, leaves, sticks, all types of stuff. And, whatever I could find, just toss that in there. Is that what they're doing in these labs with these scientists with our vaccines? And then they're going in our children in this rate of autism? And we're supposed to pretend that, oh, no, it's definitely not vaccines. Oh, no. Then then COVID happens, and what the hell was that? And then you're hearing about this 5G technology, and I don't know, you guys, but something extremely concerning is happening in our world. And our food system, when you think what's in our food, we're literally eating gasoline, petroleum. Would you eat petroleum jelly? Would you eat that? But you're eating gasoline, bleach. God knows what they're injecting into any meat. I'm afraid to even eat meat anymore. Joe and I went out to eat recently and went to Longhorn, and I wanted to get the pepper steak salad, but I didn't want the steak with it. I was afraid to get the steak. And Joe's like, no, Joe feels the way that I do, but he was still willing to eat the meat. I wasn't. And he was like, I'll take the meat. So I literally had to say, I didn't, usually if I don't like something like I don't eat chicken, for example, I can pick it off pizza and stuff. I was afraid to even have the meat touch the lettuce that I was going to eat. So I had to, I felt like I was a 5-year-old. Can you take my crust off that? I was like, oh, can you put the meat on the side? I don't want any of it touching the lettuce, because I was afraid, because I don't know what the heck's going on. And I just keep hearing about all these horrible things and people getting sick. And, I felt like people were waking up to this. And I was at CVS recently, and there were people there in line for COVID shots. And I was like, oh my gosh, people are still doing this? What's going on? I feel like our world is extremely unsafe. And the way that I looked at life, and I thought, I believed in the quote unquote American dream, right? With the house and the family and the picket fence. And that's what I wanted. But I wonder, and I believe that you can attain anything you want, right? If you're willing to work hard enough, you can attain anything you want. And I believe that to a degree now, because I think it's true. But I also think that it's also possible that we're actually slaves. So here I'm thinking that life is beautiful and free and everything. It's possible to have this ultimate dream. And I still think you can, but I also, it has to be with the awareness of the reality that's really happening. Now I know I'm making this a very simple argument, and this actually isn't my argument either. So I don't want to say I came up with this, but I did hear this. I can see this, but I also realize this is a basic argument. But just hear me out. If you think of a slave, right? So here's a slave who has to work for free, gets housing and food provided and medical treatment. I know it's a slave. They're not getting great treatment, and it's not as simple as that. I totally get that. But just on a very simple plane here, right? So that we have this. Now let's look at us today. So we get paid to work. However, we also have to use that money to pay for our housing and to pay for our medicine and to pay for our food. And then the government has complete control over our medicine and our food and what we get, what they put in it. It's so disgusting what is in our food, what is in our quote unquote medicine. So now it's at the point where I don't know what to believe. Joe and I are in this spiral of there's more I'm going to get into in future videos. I'm going to talk about this for the next 2 Fridays. It's too much to do in one video, so I was trying to just highlight on our belief and our faith in things, and we're believing on certain percentages, and we're believing that our betters are there for us, that they want the best for us, that they're there to help us. I think it was Ronald Reagan. He said, no, it was him who said, one of the worst things you can hear is, I'm here to help. I'm from the government, and this isn't a whole anti-government thing. It's just what's really going on? What's really happening in our world? Is it really the life that we thought it was? Are we really living the life we thought we were living? If you come to my house right now, open up the front door, besides seeing Fiona there, you would see a picture. We have a painting of George Washington kneeling down in prayer. And that always meant something. I wanted my kids to be able to see, greatness, people taking their chances and really doing things and loving their country. Now I wonder, was it really everything I thought it was? Did everything really happen the way that I've heard that it happened? I don't even know what to believe anymore. But I'd love to hear what you have to say, because it seems like a lot more is happening and we have a lot we could discuss. So if you're interested in this type of thing, let me know. I have so much more I could say. Bring Joe on to talk about it as well. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will be back. Check out my shorts every day with my animals, but I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you later.